Welcome back, guys. We are gonna tell where we ended. So, we're not gonna hit back direct. Where we ended with a hello world, and I said we are gonna be taking on what variable as, how to use variables, and assigning values to variables. So, let's first hit the agenda. Say what is a variable. How to use variables, assign assigning to assigning assigning values to both. Okay, so this gonna be our agenda, and also see strings. While strings. So let's go dive right direct. Now, what is a variable? A variable is a container that holds values. Look, okay, like Python. Python is a dynamic programming language which, when defining variables, you don't need to give that types. Like in C, C++, C sharp, you do something like A is equals to int, or you say something, okay, something like int A is equals to 5 to specify that that's an integer, but with Python we won't be doing this. Python, a if you say a, you can just say a equals to 5, and b is equals to man, c is equals to 4.4. Okay, right here, let's go. This variable a is only an integers are whole numbers, while the variable b is holding a string. What is a string? A string is any text in between double quotes, that are strings, and the variable c is holding a decimal point number, or is a floating point number. Floating point number are number that are decimal places. So to print this, if you print, how to print variables, this is a variable, this is declaring a variable and assigning to a variable. This equals to sign is an assignment operator. You use it to assign values to variables. Printing variables, you just say print, you can say a. If you print a, we save, we run with F5. If you run it, and you will see the value of a was 4, and you see 4 here, and this hello Mickey is still coming from this line up here. Let's just comment it out. Let's comment it out. Yep. Okay. I know so many of you confused, say what's the meaning of comma, what have you been writing, why did this line of text with hash why did this line of text with hash not appear in the resulting console? This is because it is a comment in Python. You write comment with hash, any text that you don't want it to appear, you put hash in front of it before writing it, and it will not appear. The interpreter will interpret them like comments, and they will not show. So this is a comment, a single line comment in Python. This is how you comment things out, and comments are very useful when developing. like when writing big application, well, application projects, big applications that others can use. You won't be writing 10,000 lines of code and you find an error in your code and you start confusing and start deleting lines only to discover that maybe the lines you deleted are not even the one causing the problem. So you comment them out and do your debugging. Debugging is the act of finding errors. Debugging is the act of finding errors. That's debugging is act of finding the errors in your code, or you call them bug. Got a bug are error is an error. Bugs are errors. So that's what debugging means. So where we ended, okay, by comment. This is how you comment things in Python. So like unlike before, we only use one single thing in print, but with print function you can print so many things at the same time with a single line of code. That's why Python is so cool, doing superstitious things. You can say B and C and it's gonna print all of them. Let's run it. As you can see, 4 man 4.4, which the 4 is coming from this A and the man is coming from B and the 4.4 is coming from C. Variable are extremely very powerful when it comes to programming because you use in many scenarios. Okay, let's see more of strings. I will say strings are text in double or single quote. Python use double quote or single quote. So that's strings. Now let's see if you have a string name which is equals to mark j, and you want to remove all that j from that string, and then you say what's the use of removing a j from a string, what will I be using it for? But maybe sometime building big projects you might need to do that. So you do, let's say let's print name. We call this index slicing in Python. Let's just grab the last letter of the string name and we put square brackets and we write the index. You sometimes you'll be counting this. M is index 1, A is index 2, and K is index 3. Okay, M is index 0. Python start counting from 0, so M is 0, A is 1, K is 2, E is 3, and this empty space is 4, and J is 5. You come here and hit 5 and you will save, you will run it. It will still give. Oh, we mistake, we forgot putting name here. If I put name before that in that bracket with 5 inside, you run it. If you run this, you'll see j will still appear. But let's think of this. When you write in, maybe it is a username, you run an application that you'll be taking the name from a user. You will know the amount of index that the name will occupy. That's the amount of letters that the name will occupy. So you don't do this to grab the last name. You do, let's just say if you use colon and -1, or you just use -1. If you use -1, you still do the trick, and you save and run, and we down here we are still gonna see j. So if I come here